everyone, welcome back to episode 2 of What Do You Slay? I'm Coach Taylor here with Coach Kara, Coach Becca. We are personal trainers based out of the greater Austin, Texas. We wanted to talk today about strength training and more importantly, strength training for women. So I want to open up the conversation. Obviously as trainers that emphasize, muscular strength, muscular endurance. Why is it so important for women to be strength training as they age, starting at a young age? Let's go into all the details.
Huge topic.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Really
Right.
Right. I think as you get older, you lose muscle. You lose muscle a lot quicker. So it's important to try to maintain your muscle as much as you can as you continually grow older and keep your strength. And so lifting weights is really key in doing that and maintaining that and your independence and the physique you're desiring as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you think about all the things that you do as a female and especially as a mom or even as like a young adult. You want to keep playing your sports, your rec leagues, or even help your kids play their sports or run around like your kids. A wild monkey, and you want to be a wild monkey with them too, so you have to be able to train and do those things without worrying about getting hurt. No one wants to be injured and put out.
Yeah, and I guess on another topic that we actually see a lot of clients who their muscles start or their bones start to hurt, or they have a lot of hip problems, and they're in their 40s, and really it becomes where the muscle is not strong enough to even hold the bone structure and ligaments and tendons up. It's like you need those muscles strong enough to support your body and how it moves. And so ailments come along with that when you don't have the strength in those particular areas to help you hold yourself up.
Yeah, and I think you touched on like the independence part. I mean, we get looked at all the time. We are small in stature, but I don't want to actually feel small in stature. I want to be able to say, no, I can pick that up on my own. I got this. I can carry 2 babies on my hip and kick a soccer ball around. Like, that's what I want to be. I don't want to be looked down upon just because I'm a female. I want to be independent and be able to do my own thing.
Well, and you recently posted on Instagram too about like your why for training is because you want to be able to say like, I got it. And right now, like we don't have kids yet, but yeah, I mean, we're small and people look at us as if we're less capable or not able to do things. And that translates into as you maybe do have kids or, maybe you're living on your own and you have to have that independence to be able to take care of yourselves and feel confident to be able to take care of yourselves and know how to handle yourself.
Absolutely. Huge things.
Big thing that we hear and a big, common misconception about strength training, especially towards women, is that it makes you bulky. What's your experience with this? I mean, personal opinions. We're over here trying to be some muscle mommies over here. So we're all about the pump.
That's the new buzzword.
Yeah, the
muscle mommy.
No, I kind of don't like this. There's a lot of when women come and they're like, well, I'm kind of afraid of lifting weights because I don't want to feel bulky. And I usually tell them, first, your DNA will not allow you to be super bulky, and it takes a long time to grow muscle and to have those really, cut arms and, have those large muscles that they probably are thinking of what they might get. But I think that that's not the case. You want to lift weights, ladies. You really want to lift weights. The physique you're wanting incorporates weight training. So,
it won't make you bulky.
Well, I think it's important to know, like, women maybe that are bulkier, or what you're envisioning, like that is intentional, right? Like we know it takes a lot of hard work. You have to eat the right way. You have to train consistently. And if you're not doing all those things, like you're not just gonna magically grow huge muscles. It's a lot of effort. And like if we were to ask anyone, what's your goal physique or goal body type? It's gonna be women with prominent muscles. Like maybe it's someone super thin, but oftentimes it's someone that has a very cut, very lean look, like Michelle Obama's arms, Jennifer Aniston. Like all of these women have very visible muscles. They're not huge, but it's visible muscles, and that is really coming from, again, lifting heavy enough to build your muscles, but also a lifestyle where you have very low body fat, right? So eating very clean, very healthy, and training to get to that very lean body fat.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are two major things with that.
So I don't think you need to be afraid of getting bulky. It's kind of point blank.
Try.
I guess it depends on
try
and be bulky, and you're probably gonna love your results.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably gonna love what you see, and that's probably our biggest wall that we have to break down with our female clients. I mean, we have a functional strength training class for adults, and yesterday I had women in the whole thing, and it just made my heart so full because we got through. Yeah. And now they're doing things and they're like, hell yeah, like I'm strong enough, and they're not worried about that. You know, we have a client who can't really do cardio training because she gets nauseous and she gets dizzy, so she's stuck with strength training. She's been with us for like 4 or 5 months now, and she's out of this world with her results. Yeah. Everyone's starting to notice, and it's that, like Taylor was saying, it's that toned look with the thinner, less body fat, but it came all from strength training. So
well, and hopefully this can be a good way to encourage women to pick up weight training, because like how many people enjoy running? Like who likes cardio? If you do, more power to you, but like oftentimes when you're like, what kind of workouts do you enjoy? Like no one's gonna say, I love to run on the treadmill for an hour. And again, if you do, that's awesome for you, but by extension, if that is your sport, that's your jam, like you still have to have the muscles to support that activity. We see this with a lot of our runners or specific athletes where if they don't cross train, pickleball for example, right? Like you have to work on that muscular strength for overhead, rotation, all those things, and if you don't have the muscles to support the movement, well at some point there's going to be a crack in that foundation. So it really goes hand in hand in any of the activities you're trying to do.
You've said it beautifully.
So talking about buzzwords then, because obviously, you know, we're kind of debunking the idea that weight training makes you bulky, and kind of hand in hand with that is that toned look. Like are there any misconceptions about being toned? I mean, I feel like as women we're marketed to be smaller, to be leaner, to be less, and that's kind of like the ideal woman in maybe today's society. And it's less so, you know, now muscle mommy is like a good buzzword and people want to be stronger, but
lean muscle, I think is the term that is
the lengthening and toning. And
I mean, your muscle is the way your muscle is. It's not gonna get any leaner. You grow the muscle and it will protrude more out of your skin, which makes give you that toned look. But it comes time under tension with the muscle. So it needs to be challenged for it to be able to grow, and then you have to feed it if you want it to grow as well.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it referencing like Michelle Obama and Jennifer Aniston, like you have to build the muscle for it to show. Like you can't run your way into toned arms. You can't run your way to toned legs. You have to build that muscle, and that's cardio is not going to get you there. At least that style of cardio isn't going to get you there. You have to.
Well, there has to be something to uncover.
Right.
Like, maybe you're going to lose weight, you're going to lose fat, but like what's underneath that? If you don't ever develop muscle tone, then there is nothing toned, you know, to be uncovering. Once you lose that body fat, you'll see a lot of like maybe skinny fat people, or people that it seems like they're doing the right things, they're doing the cardio, they're eating the right way, but then their body still doesn't look how it wants or how they're wanting, and it's usually because they don't have any muscle. What is there underneath it?
So I think toned, the definition of being toned is having muscle and having a low level of body fat.
100%.
That's what it is.
That is it.
Correct.
Yeah. So you have to strength train. If you want to be toned, you have to strength train.
And eat right. Lower your body fat percentage.
Yeah, which is a whole nother conversation, as we mentioned in our first one. Don't worry, we'll get there. But
well, I think that is a good thing to touch on, though, as far as going back to maybe what I just said. Like, if someone's doing the right things, quote unquote, you know, like they're doing their exercise consistently, how important is the nutrition to that? Like, you know,
it's like way important.
Almost 80-20.
More important than your exercise, you know.
I think, what's the quote? It says, you know, abs are made in the gym and they're uncovered in the kitchen, and that is, I mean, that's the layman's terms of you have to have low body fat to show that muscle tone.
Yeah, like a lot of women want to do tons and tons and tons of abs. But hey, you gotta watch what you're putting in your mouth and how hard are you challenging those abs. You have to load abs,
How many days a week do you do abs, Taylor?
Maybe one.
Maybe one. Same.
And how often do we do cardio? I mean, like, most of us, Becca, you're probably better than Kara and I as far as
I do enjoy it, but
yeah, but I mean, if you're training at an intensity where your heart rate's getting up, where you're lifting heavy enough to have that stimulus, then you don't have to do a ton of abs because your core work is built into doing strength training with proper form.
Absolutely.
And you don't have to have a ton of cardio either unless, maybe you're on a timeline where I want to lose this much weight or this much body fat by a certain time, but functionally, like, I can usually get away with maybe cardio once a week and then maybe abs once a week.
Because your diet is so clean that you don't have to worry about burning excess calories.
I'm not trying to outwork my diet.
Yeah.
100%. And that's a good thing to go into is that, you don't want to eat so less and then work out because your whole calorie in, calorie out is not at the right ratio. So you could be not eating enough, and not enough protein, and that whole muscle building or losing weight will not happen. So make sure you educate yourself on or get a coach to help you on how to figure that out. There's so many women out there, and we've experienced this with a couple of our clients wanting to work nutritionally with us, that they undereat and then overwork out and their metabolism is just shot. So another topic we'll talk about that is reverse dieting and things like that. But if we could suggest something as women, you've got to eat. It's not about working out and eating less. It's like,
I want to eat. I want to eat so much.
Yeah.
So when you have a really good healthy metabolism, you want to eat often because you're hungry, and you don't kind of shove that away. You kind of create the deficit in moving your body and lifting weights versus eating less. So think about that aspect. It's just way how people present the information, and there's so many unhealthy ways out there, and it can really mess also with your hormones. So educate yourself.
Let's talk about the difference in endurance training versus strength training. Again, as women, we're often marketed lighter weights, heavy reps, and that's going to create that toned look that's so coveted by women and what we're seeking. But the reality is you have to be lifting heavy, which can be relative. It can be relative to the person. So I mean, just because maybe I lift 45 pounds and someone is lifting 25 pounds, that's not heavy to them, but it's important to differentiate in your programming, what are you actually training for? Because if you're just continually training at the same reps, the same weight, where is the change going to be coming from?
Right.
So do you want to break down maybe how the difference in endurance style versus strength?
Yeah, so muscular endurance training is seeing how long your muscle can actually hold on to a certain amount of weight or do a certain amount of reps. So you're basically going to failure, but in long term. So you're training 20 plus reps with that really light weight, which is good for certain things. We have PT clients where we do that because we want to wake up those certain muscle groups, or if you're an endurance athlete, probably a good idea, or isometric work. It just depends on what you're training for. But if you are looking for muscle mommy, if you're looking to get toned, you have to build the muscle like we've already talked about. So that's going to put you in your rep range of somewhere between 6 to 15 reps. And that last 3 reps should be very hard.
Very challenging.
Yeah. Very challenging. So say you're training to 8 reps, the 6th, 7th, 8th rep should be hard.
Yeah.
That's going to be your hypertrophy or muscle building.
And your max of that is going to be different from anybody. And then as you get stronger, of course, that will change in how much weight you're picking up, etc. But then that muscle will start to grow.
Yep. Yeah. I'll say when I switched my routine, I was cardio abs girl all day until literally 4 years ago. When I switched my training to this certain rep range, I was only going to 10 reps max, Once I could do a weight for 10 reps, then I would go heavier and start back over at 6. That's when I started to actually see the changes in my body. Before that, I was just skinny. Like, that was it. I had no tone. And then now I have a body that I love, you know?
So endurance is lighter, higher reps. That toned or strength would be lower rep, heavier weights.
Yeah.
That would be kind of the difference. And those are both different physiques is what I think Coach Becca is trying to get at as well.
Yeah. So they're both good. They both serve a purpose. But if we're talking about you want to be able to see your muscle, you're probably better off in between that 6-15 rep range.
Yeah. It's going to be like a little more bang for your buck and just more time efficient, really.
Yeah.
It's going to take you a lot less time to see that muscle definition when you're training close to failure at that heavier rep range. It's probably going to take you twice as long to see the same results, if ever, through that endurance training.
Well, and just kind of touching on this a little bit is that some people can't mentally push themselves to that, you know, figuring out what your max is, but also form is crucial, making sure you have good, proper form. You know, we've seen people in gyms all the time where they try and rep out this heavy weights and they have terrible form.
To the point where we're like, what exercise are they even doing?
Yeah.
Like, it looks like it's supposed to be this, but...
Or what muscle do you think you're working?
Yeah.
So I think those are key. Finding a coach or somebody that can help you push that if you're not mentally strong to get there, but also knowing what good form is, making sure you're activating the right muscle. As coaches teach that all the time here at our studio to our clients. And so I think you just want to be conscious of those aspects that play into endurance versus strength too.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about programming then. What does an ideal workout split look like? Because I know a lot of people have questions about, like, do I train full body? Do I train lower than upper? Is it push and pull? Like, there's a lot of information out there, and it can be hard to, you know, make it concise and fit into a program. What do you personally recommend? Because we all have our own training styles, and I think a lot of that has to do, again, with your personal interest and what's fun to you.
Yeah, that's huge.
I love to train legs, so I train legs multiple times a week, but I mean, Becca does really awesome full body workouts, and that doesn't make it any less effective. But
yeah, I think, like, overall, just answering the general population, like, it depends, and it depends on you, it depends on your time and how often you can work out, how you split that up, and so being a mom and a business owner, I can maybe work out 2 to 3 times a week. So some weeks I know it's going to be more challenging, so I kind of do full body on those weeks. But sometimes, like, I like working out my legs.
Don't say that all shy. Don't be ashamed.
I like leg out. So like, sometimes I'll make one workout just legs. So I think it depends on you and what feels right. But I mean, I know you go to the gym multiple times a week. You have a lot of time to be able to do that.
Right.
So tell us a little about what your split is, or what it is now. You know, I mean, it probably changes here and there.
Yeah, well, obviously after just getting married, I was kind of in preparation mode for that. So I was very consistent with my exercises, but right now I'm probably taking like 1-2 rest days a week, and then I'm doing legs where it's like quads and glutes, and then I'll do a push or a pull day, then hammies and glutes, then push or pull, whichever one I didn't hit, and then maybe like a full body or a HIIT class or something with cardio, try to incorporate more of that. Trying to be better, even as a coach, like knowing that the things that I'm weaker at or don't enjoy are still beneficial. And I mean, even though I'm so young, it's still good to be thinking about my heart health, thinking about, you know, my cardiovascular system. So that's how I've been splitting it up. But that being with my goal to be like leaner in my midsection and to have stronger, really defined looking legs. Like, that's what my personal goals have been. So, and then Becca, what would your split be like?
Right now I'm kind of full body. I mean, it really just depends on, like, I'm the same way. It just depends on the week. but I do like a full body split with an emphasis maybe on one body part on that third day. I'm usually 3 times a week. So yeah, push, pull, bigger compound movements. You'll hardly ever see me working like just my biceps or my triceps. I would rather do like a big rowing pattern, like pull or whatever. But yeah, I would say for anybody that's just starting out, or the moms who don't have a lot of time, which is our general population, is start somewhere and make your workouts count. So in my opinion, that would be a full body. If you can only do it once or twice a week, hit it all.
Yeah.
Hit it all, because you move it all, right? Like, we don't just move our butt, so don't stick to your booty workouts and think that that's going to get you the results that you want.
Yeah.
You move it all, so you got to use it all. So that would be just my suggestion to those people just starting out.
Yeah.
Is to hit it all.
Well, and it's good to tie that into, you can't spot reduce. Like, we have a lot of clients that come to us and they're like, I want to work on the back of my arms, or I want to work on my butt. And it's like, that's great, but functionally, like, if you never train upper body as a woman, like, you will never be able to pick up heavy enough weights that start to challenge your legs.
Yeah,
so
it's important.
you have to tie it together, and I mean, you know, think of it as like a challenge. Like, I'm getting stronger, I want to lift heavier than what I did, I want to be able to do more reps than I did. And I feel like if we start shifting our focus away from like the physique, because that can be a little stagnant or plateau and not move as quickly as you want, and more towards that performance side, like, you will definitely see results. It's just a matter of time, right? Like, you just have to stick to the process as opposed to being so focused on that specific marker of success. Because it doesn't mean change isn't happening. Like, when you're building muscle, you're improving your metabolism, you're improving your joint health. There's so many benefits that go unseen, and you just have to trust in that process and know that, like, the physical aspect of it will come. It's the consistency, and it's a lifestyle, right? Like,
100%.
exercise is not a fad diet. You can't just do it when you want something out of it. Like, you have to make that part of your lifestyle.
Absolutely, and something that you enjoy.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
that's the hard thing, is everybody's all in the first month or whatever, and then they like crush and go back to old habits. But I mean, working out is challenging. You got to have motivation and coaches and support and, you know, all of that to help you get there. But consistency is key, super key. And your nutrition, I can't express that enough. People, I think, don't put that into play enough, and
or they want one
without the other. Yeah. So you'll be at the
don't
gym.
want the hard truth.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that we are kind of good at here, unfortunately, but that's what makes us good coaches. I don't know, but the hard truth is there's going to be things that you have to change. Like, we're going to pick apart kind of what you're doing outside of the gym and inside of the gym to make sure that you get the results that you want, that you hired us for.
Yeah,
so
100%.
be ready to take a look at what you're doing.
And give the feedback, and hopefully
be honest with yourselves about like, are you ready to make change? Because I think that's something we run into is they come in motivated and, you know, it's gonna ebb and flow and life gets crazy, but it's okay if you're not ready to make changes. But then you also have to be honest, like, okay, well, are my habits now supporting the person that I want to be?
100%. That's a great saying right there.
Great. All right. Well, should we go into our red flag, green flag? All right, so red flag, green flag, lengthening your muscles. We touched on this a little bit, but I'm gonna say yellow. It depends on the context.
Red flag. Because you can't.
By the words.
Not in
by the words, red flag.
Yes.
Okay.
Not in a literal sense, but
Okay.
through context. When you're stretching, we have muscles that get tight, and we want to think of finding length because maybe we're crunched in. So I think
lengthening that way through like stretch and mobility exercises, but lengthening and toning, no.
Yeah. You can't make your muscle longer. Like, when you're stretching, it's just stretching the muscle fibers.
Yes.
But like, I can't make Kara's bicep any longer than the bicep already is.
Plenty long.
Does that make sense?
I wish.
Can you make it keep growing? Grow it.
Okay, red flag, green flag, exercising 7 days a week.
Red flag.
Red. You need rest. That's
Yeah.
where the results come from. I mean, if you're constantly breaking down your muscles, they will never build
will never
stronger or bigger or better.
You have to repair. Your body has to rest. You have to repair the muscles so you can tear the muscle fibers down again. But rest and, I mean, sleep and all of that, you can't have one without the other. It's a stress on the body. So no, do not train 7 days a week.
Common misconception is that the muscles are made in the gym.
Right.
What you're doing is you're tearing down the muscle fibers in the gym.
When you're sleeping and resting.
And eating.
And eating. Sleeping, resting, eating is when the muscle is being made.
Yes. Boom.
Boom. Love it. Okay. Fasted cardio.
Depends. Yellow. It depends on the person, I think.
What's your...
I'm gonna say red.
Okay.
Specifically thinking of women, because a lot of times, at least in our demographic, like with your hormones already maybe being in flux, and then you're causing this other stress where there's no fuel, well, it's gonna cause
more
typically
stress.
hormonal disruption.
And that too,
But maybe you get sick if you eat before your workout, in which case then, you know, what's the greater or the lesser evil?
So if it's eat before cardio, I cannot do that.
Right.
But if I'm strength training, I love to have a good meal. Like I can eat a full breakfast and then go strength train, and I'm fine and won't feel like I'm gonna throw it right back up.
Yeah.
But absolutely, to your point. So maybe it's like a little bit.
Right.
Figure out what you can hold down while you do your accelerate class, your HIIT class.
Well, and timing is important, right? Like,
For sure. Like I usually eat about an hour and a half before I go work out.
Okay.
And it's usually a shake of some sort, to where it's not heavy in my stomach or not so slow digesting, so I won't have a lot of fats in there, but it gives me some energy. I don't get a slug, but I'm not gonna be throwing it up if I'm pushing so hard or whatever.
Perfect. All right. Red flag, green flag, static stretching before a workout.
Red flag.
Red.
Green.
Okay, maybe let's dive into this. Let's define static, right? Like static stretching, I feel like is what people think of when they think of stretching.
Yes.
But it's important.
Hold a pose for a extended amount of time.
Okay, so tell me why it's red flag, and then I'll tell you why it's green flag.
She's like, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. So I would say just because when you're warming up for a workout, you want to take someone through the dynamic movements that are going to prepare them for the movement patterns they're about to perform. Like, very likely you're not touching your toes, right? Like if you're gonna be doing something very similar, it's a hinge. So you're gonna push your hips back, you're gonna brace your core, you're gonna feel those legs turn on. You're not just gonna find length in that one muscle. Typically. I mean, yoga, that's a different story, but what are your thoughts?
I think the same thing. I think you want to dynamically move the muscle in ways that you're about to move it to where it's kind of warm, the muscles are warmed up. So I mean, I guess that's it in a nutshell. That's how I kind of think of it.
So I like to do it all.
Oh.
we do both. So basically what I've heard, like the big myth is static stretching before will inhibit your performance. But it actually, it does, but by like 0.03%.
Not worried about
your
that.
performance. Okay. So then, but you add in your dynamic, you're doing your static, but you're helping, you're lengthening your muscle patterns, you're still getting it warm, and you're allowing blood flow to that area, right? And so it's actually going to help reduce injury when you get into your movement pattern with the addition of dynamic stretching. But it's like, the saying is like, okay, well, would you rather have a 0.03% less performing LeBron James because he did some static stretching before the game, or would you rather have an injured LeBron James because he did not stretch enough or get enough blood flow to that muscle?
It's a good way
Probably a not injured LeBron James,
for sure.
right?
A healthy LeBron.
Yeah. So I say green flag with, in addition to the dynamic stretching, also foam rolling, just to really get all the blood flow going. So,
yeah, I think it comes out of that blood flow, like moving the muscles to kind of, what we call warming up, which is like sending blood to the muscle to get it ready to move.
And then red flag, green flag. Lifting heavy. Green.
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 Double
Go
green.
and tell it on the mountains.
Lift heavy all day.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We will see y'all next week for that episode of What Do You Slay?
What do you slay? See y'all.
Bye.